And off we go. A close game now starting the second quarter. Here is Boykins. And now they decide to foul intentionally.
I have no idea why he was fouling there.
And even the foul, I mean, you can't be wrapping guys up like that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. That's a meaningless play.
So timeout called here, the first for Los Angeles.
That was interesting. Once again, late last season for the Lakers, they slumped to close out the regular season. And it seems to be a pattern. You know, it's almost like they get bored before they actually get into the postseason.
Derek Carricker, he's checked in for the Lakers. Kobe comes in for Steve Blake. They've got Kobe. Odom out there with Derek Carricker. Then there's Andrew Bynum. And it's Brown in at the point. That's the Laker 5. 6 on the shot clock. The shot. And he hits it to tie the game up. 8 points for Steven Jackson. And, you know, Steve, for the Lakers, Lamar Odom said himself their sluggish finishes in the second half were partly born of overconfidence, of ego. I don't know much credence you put in that, Clark. I mean, what do you think?
You know what? I think there is a tendency, a human tendency, to become complacent, to become full, and you can lose some of your edge. I don't think it's a lack of humility and respect. I think it's just the nature of being somewhat satisfied. And when you're in this league, because people are coming after you a lot harder when you've got what they want in terms of championships, and especially as you age, I think it gets harder sometimes to fight off that resistance and to flip the switch if you find yourself in a little bit of a rut.
Takes it up. The shot by Kobe, no good.
I tell you what, against one of the best finishers, that's exactly the kind of defense you need to play.
Delfino dishes to Boykins. He dishes it to Jackson. Lets the three fly. The rebound by Kobe Bryant.
And, you know, Kobe Bryant, when he really exerts his energy, can still be a terrific defender.
Wow! You know, everybody's got a job to do. Each player has a role in clearing space under the boards. That's his.
And then collecting on the second chance points, Clark. So important.
And is he hard to handle in the paint. Just so strong in the attacks.
Timeout called, the Bucks.
And, you know, guys, last season, the expectations for Milwaukee were really high. But they just couldn't live up to those hopes. They won only 13 games away from home all year. And when you can't win on the road, you can't really be a successful NBA team.
Some changes for the Lakers. Pau Gasol is checked in for Derek Carricker. Artest comes in for Andrew Bynum. And Derek Fisher is subbed in for Shannon Brown. And then for Milwaukee, Andrew Bogut checked in for Ilyasova. Gooden comes in for Carlos Delfino. And Michael Redd is subbed in for Steven Jackson. For three, Kobe. Again, the miss by Kobe. Back to the Bucks. You know, Clark, you'd better play well on the road if you want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a must. I mean, you got to be really solid and good at home and then respectable on the road. And the Bucks only won a third of its road games, and that's a definite way to be watching the playoffs.
Yeah, Steve just said 13 wins. It's hard to believe, but that's what they got, and so they're going to have to improve on that.
He could have forced a tough inside shot, but made a terrific kick out to find the open jumper instead.
Three-pointer. The shot, no good. And it's Milwaukee the other way. This game coming on the heels of their win against the Kings.
Yeah, solid victory. They pretty much did what they had to do throughout the game.
I like the fact that they took care of business early. It wasn't a game that came down to the final possession or two. You know, Kevin, it turned out that Mike Brown was the man for the Lakers job, and he inherits an interesting team here in L.A. I mean, a lot of potential, but coming off a disappointing end to last season.
The Bucks trail, and at home for the next game, it'll be Detroit pulling into town. That game will be a quick pit stop before hitting the road again. Here is Boykins, defended by Gasol. From the wing, and it's another Milwaukee shot right there going in. I'm getting back to Brown for just a second. Clark, you're just talking about him. You know, Steve, he has big shoes to fill. Anytime you're trying to replace a legend like Phil Jackson, There's a lot in front of you there.
Yeah, it's one of the highest profile coaching positions in any sport in the world. But Mike Brown will be prepared. I mean, he had to deal with the circus around LeBron James in Cleveland over those years and did a nice job there. So I think Mike Brown is the right guy for the job.
Here is Boykins. He's covered by Fisher. And Douglas Roberts kicks to Red. And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2. It's going to be on Kobe Bryant.
Tough run here the last couple of seasons for Michael Red. He's torn both his ACL and MCL the last couple of seasons, and he did both of them twice. That's almost unheard of.
Looking at who's out there now for the Lakers. Andrew Bynum's checked in for Oda. Brown comes in for Kobe. And Steve Blake is subbed in for Derek Fisher. Milwaukee also making some changes. Ilyasova, he's checked in for Gooden. Mbah Murte comes in for Chris Douglas Roberts. And it's Jennings in for Earl Boykins. Thinking back to Michael Red's injuries, it was nice to see him back out on the floor at the end of last season.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You know, I'm partial and a little biased to M. Red. We're good friends, and he is a fellow OSU Buckeye. So that obviously rates high with me, but nice to see him back healthy. And I think he's got some good years ahead of him. He's a terrific leader. And now that he's been able to go through that the second time with that knee injury, I think he better knows how to get himself ready for NBA basketball.
He seems like a great kid. I know his family upbringing, so he's got a nice foundation right there, but he seems like he's a real good kid.
He's as high quality a guy as you'd ever want to meet. The real deal.
It's back to Jennings. He kicks to Red. Over Gasol, and it's Red, that time on the assist from Brandon Jennings.
And now 6 of their last 10 points from mid-range.
Yeah, jump shot really serving these guys pretty well.
Shoots the 3. And it's Brown missing.
You know, as tight as this game is, you have to like their chances the way they've been rebounding.
They have a pretty good margin in that department, so they've got to continue to hit the boards hard. It'll pay off for them in the end.
Got it up.
Good! Ooh-wee, Kevin. That was a big shot to extend their lead and send them into halftime with momentum.
More from Los Angeles after this.
Welcome to the HP Halftime Report. I'm Damon Bruce. A great game going on out at Staples Center. The Los Angeles Lakers in front against Milwaukee. And from outside, you couldn't shoot it much better than this. They are scorching hot from beyond the arc. A good start for Kobe. He's got 14 points and also been chipping in on the glass, hauling in a few rebounds. And on the other side, Milwaukee just keeps scrapping. The offense has been firing on all cylinders. This team is cooking. Their top scorer is Steven Jackson. His shooting percentage is right at the 60 mark. He is feeling it tonight. Some fantastic numbers to enjoy here. What a first half for tonight's leading scorers. We already got a few games gone final. Check them out from around the league. In Indiana, it's the Pacers winning over the Celtics. Tight one out there. 4 points was the difference. And the other game also in the books. Toronto ended up with a loss to the Wizards over at Verizon Center. Just came up 1 point short. Andrea Bargnani was their leading scorer. Thanks so much for joining us here in the studio. We hope to see you next time. We'll send you back out to the second half.